Peace. Islam. Sheekamauga Alamassee-El. Coming at y'all live. Deep down. Alamassee, Arabian country. Live from Arabia district. Mecca Nakamogi to be exact. And standing in front of the historic Pearl Stephen School. And, of course, I want y'all to check out the Moorish architecture. Real grand, noble type of architecture and masonry. We already know where that come from. We know that so-called Meccan is a Moorish Yamasee town, originally. So a lot of the historic buildings going to reflect that type of architecture. Real dope. I mean, really, definitely Muslim type architecture. But just wanted to chop it up with y'all about the so-called, back in the day they had the haunted house propaganda coming from Hollywood about, the old Victorian and the old type of homes and Moorish style, Moorish Romanesque type of architecture that was very prevalent in America. I know some of y'all are old enough to remember all of the haunted house and haunted type of building Hollywood propaganda that was put out at that time about those type of buildings. And at the time, if you do the research, you're going to find out that that was the era of like the 40s, the 50s, and those types. In that era, that was the era of kind of what they call urban renewal. And, that was the first phase of kind of gentrification, because they really wanted to start to get rid of a lot of these buildings. We already know that corporate entity did not build, but they wanted to get rid of a lot of these buildings and have an excuse for doing it. So of course, if you're gonna have an excuse for the people to get rid of these things, you're gonna have to create propaganda of these buildings being haunted or having a certain type of ghostly energy, or just generally being kind of places for evil to dwell. Because the issue is, and the reason for a lot of the gentrification and the destruction of these types of buildings and this type of architecture is the frequency that they create. They're all built on a curve. They're built with knowledge of and geometry and the spiral curve, which is natural on the plane. So that creates a certain higher level frequency and holy frequency of the Most High that certain lower level beings can't really exist around. So they have to have an excuse to get rid of this type of stuff. So that's what the whole urban renewal type of propaganda was, the haunted house type of propaganda was about. And you notice that these things are disappearing. So just wanted y'all to remember, because I'm old enough to remember that. I'm old enough to remember the haunted house propaganda, the witch propaganda of all the old Victorian buildings and all of that. And they got rid, and a lot of these things have not been maintained, and they're being torn down. And they still exist in some places, but they're just kind of going away. So just wanted to tap in on that and show y'all the historic Pearl Stevens building. It's a beautiful architecture. You already know the ancestors. They don't build them like that no more, and there's a reason for that, because they done blacklisted they done blacklisted the people out of, blacklisted the brothers out of carpentry. So you don't really get stuff like this anymore, because, genetically, you already know the Mississippian people are the ones that can build this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Genetically, just keep it a buck. And that ain't got nothing to do with black and white or color or anything like that. It's a frequency you want. So, just tapping in with y'all, deep in Mecca, live from Arabia. That's peace. And check back in with y'all later. Deuces.